it's getting pretty far up there. When I would commute into Manhattan not too long ago, at 6 o'clock in the morning, I wouldn't see a car on the Taconic State Parkway for 40 minutes, and now I have to wait online to get in. So, you know, it's changing around here.
A lot of people are downsizing their studios and just trying to cut back, myself included. I'm moving into a smaller studio.
Then came to Beacon looking for space, and there was studios at the high school, there was Spire Studio, but there weren't that many actual affordable workspaces. Now segueing to the habitat idea, where I started thinking, okay, the shed is kind of this building that isn't zoned. So if you want to have a space under a certain, amount of room, what if this is what you've got to work with, rather than a big lofty space? Okay, what if you reduce it and say, hey, this is what you've got to work with? Does that make you a less or more of an artist?
I think the economic contraction, economic difficulties will definitely result in, less galleries. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to sell.
Maybe, but there also will be there'll be more empty spaces.
More empty spaces for the artists who are here to sort of fill with more interesting, less maybe commercially focused art. But it's tough. I think it's a really tough time to be an artist right now.
I was at Bulldog Studios in Beacon, I still am, and the building has gone back to the school board, who now rents it out to the artists, and they're trying to sell the building. And there were some people in the community that were not happy that the building was occupied by artists.
Artists look different from other people. So, if you talk to normal people who go to work and wear a suit every day, an artist is someone who's not in a suit, who's not in a uniform, people don't know what they do. So there's a little bit of suspicion, but once they get to know an artist as a person, they realize they're really just like them.
We used to have a sign on the door that said "Browsers welcome," because people would be a little intimidated and feel if they didn't intend to buy something, they wouldn't come in. And we tried to change that attitude. We try and engage people when they come in, and we're not trying to, do what you sometimes feel in some of the galleries down in the city, is that you're a lesser being, when you come into the gallery.
I'm a member of a co-op gas gallery at 196 Main Street in Poughkeepsie, and I'll see people all the time that are itching to come in, but they won't step over the threshold in the door. There's a fear of art.
It goes back to our schools and our newspapers and our radio stations. They don't talk about the arts.
I've been on a crusade trying to get as many murals painted as possible, because Poughkeepsie has a lot of potential in a lot of ways, but a lot of the local politicians and business people don't quite see it. In America, art is sort of an afterthought, or it's a hobby. It's not really considered a profession. It's sort of taken lightly, if at all. But I personally think that an artist should have some kind of impact on the world, on society.
This whole idea about that the arts are for the elite people, it's bullshit. The Dyson Foundation did that big report, One River, Many Voices, or Many Voices, One River or something. And if you look at the arts section on that, they ask people to prioritize needs in their community. And in terms of what we would say is elite in that report, the African American community and the Latino community both rated the arts as a higher priority than the general population. But we're not developing a vocabulary to talk about the arts. So, people walk into DIA, or the Dorsey Museum, or the Hessel Museum at Bard, or even like the Loeb Center. And people will walk in, they'll look around, and they're like, I don't know what this is. And that's a problem with the education, and it's the problem with that the arts are completely out of the daily vocabulary.
I think there are components of the public that love art, that go see art, that follow artists, that go to art openings and are very interested in what artists do, but it's a very limited portion of the public.
People's lives, they expect that there's going to be art shows and performing arts, and I think they over time, that helps to build a bigger audience for all of it beyond sort of the artists, who've got to be the primary audience. You know, artists move in and have to be the number one consumer. But then they put up all the shows and exhibitions and cats, and it starts to sort of spread out, to maybe draw more people in.
The 30s and the Roosevelt years of the New Deal, this region, that's when it made its biggest impact in the arts world, through the number of artists who were hired from the Hudson Valley and Woodstock in particular for the WPA arts projects around the country.
That'd be amazing. I'd love to see another project like that.
It's not like it's just like this growing community that's just going to get better and better. You know, it's more of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back, long-term process, I think.
The political change, I think, you know, artists are probably feeling more hopeful about stuff despite the economy than they were previously. So it's kind of, you know, different part of the playground. We may be off the swings and onto the roundabouts.
It's definitely up to the artist to market himself in a way where he's not whoring himself out also, because we need to make a living, and it's a hard profession, but it's kind of, the rewards are outweighing everything, you know.
It's also a great time to be an artist, actually. It's a great time to be part of the creative industry.
I think there's a very interesting community here. I think it's probably as fertile now as it was during the time of the Hudson River School artists in the 1800s, and probably as fertile as it was when the Woodstock Art Colony was opened in 1902, 1903.
So, yeah, there's a lot of potential, but you have to keep working at it.
Take my hand, look to the right, and the sand is telling us to break out of fear. We're using language without the word fear in it. Don't live your life by looking over your back. Look straight ahead, 'cause we're making our own track now. Billy Joel once said, I want you just the way you are. Doesn't matter if we land short or far.